Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to quick jump on here with Facebook Live.
Yeah, so thanks.
Paul
Yeah, Ryan is going to go ahead
and
and do the intro there. Hop on. Nice. Nice. Hey, folks. Nice Saturday, Sunday morning where both Ryan and I don't have to watch the Bronco game this morning.
mm-mm, thank goodness.
Yeah, because they got to play on Thursday, or they got to be on TV on Thursday. Whether they played or not was is up for interpretation. So yeah, so folks, this is just kind of a quick little one just to kind of introduce my friend Ryan and talk about what we're going to do on the 29th. This is a request I've had for a few different times, where I'm the subject. I've got to interview some of my best friends, and I've got to interview some pretty amazing people. Um, all right, and it absolutely is on Facebook. And I've had a couple people ask to interview me, and I decided I've had a couple people offer to do it, and I asked my buddy Ryan to do it because Ryan is absolutely one of the best people I know, and one of my best friends. And I think that he would have. I thought you would have fun doing it, and I thought you'd be a great person to kind of talk about it. For those of you who don't know, Ryan and I, when I'm in town, Ryan and I get together at 5 o'clock every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for coffee, 5 o'clock a.m. It started very fun. We were walking around. We did a park once,
Mm-hmm.
and then it started
During
getting
the COVID
cold.
time.
So then we did.
Mm-hmm.
We went to the Funplex, and we were walking around the Funplex for I don't know a half hour, 45 minutes, and then going to get coffee. Well, then the Funplex closed, and we got lapped by an old lady in a battle gear walker. And we decided, maybe we'll just have coffee. So we've been doing that for I don't know a year and a half, maybe.
Yeah, a couple of years.
So, and we've had some really fun conversations. Opened up a bunch of like late '80s, early '90s baseball cards.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been doing that. So I thought Ryan would be a great person to do the interview. So Ryan, tell everybody about yourself a bit.
Well, Paul, thank you. It's an honor to be here with you this morning on a beautiful, chilly, sunny morning from the Dirty G, as we call it here in Greeley, Colorado. Thanks for joining us from Little Rock today. Paul and I originally met in a coaching class
Yep.
that our good friend and partner Chalice Springfield started in, that would have been winter of 18 into the full year of 2019. We got together once a month and just tried to be better human beings, better business owners, better people in the world. And throughout that relationship, got to know Paul, was invited to some of these like magic shows in his basement, which were really cool and really was the springboard for a good group of dudes that started getting together that were especially important during the COVID times when we would not be able to necessarily get together as a group of just 8 or 10 guys here in Greeley, but a group of dudes that just wanted to see each other. So we'd do this.
We'd
Get
hop
on
on Zoom
video.
and get just
Oh,
shit faced on
just
Zoom.
absolutely snookered because what else was there to do at 10 o'clock in the morning on a Wednesday when we were all locked away from our friends and family? So that really was kind of a springboard for our relationship. And it's been an honor and a privilege to get to know Paul over these years. And like you said, have coffee early morning. So if anybody's ever in Greeley, 5 o'clock, let us know. We'd love to have you join us on the Comfort Recliners over at our corporate partner and hopefully future sponsor, Ziggy's
Right,
Coffee.
right. So you mentioned Chalice. I have lunch with Chalice about once a month, and she's one of my favorite people. She's an amazing person. I've hinted several times to have her on here, and she says things like, "Oh, I'm not that exciting. I'm not that. I don't." Well, I mean, listen. You go back and look at some of the people I've had on the show. Chalice would be great. I think she'd be a great guest. So I'm going to keep leaning on her and have her come on. She's a business coach. She's taken huge risks. She was the CEO of a very profitable and well respected real estate company in northern Colorado, and she quit to do what she wanted to do to help people foster business and help people foster individual goals. And so I hope to have her on. We'll see. Fingers crossed.
That would be a good get.
So Ryan has Ryan. One of the things I admire about Ryan the most, and we'll talk more about this on the 29th, is I think Ryan is. I've got lots of friends that are dads, and I think of all of them, I think Ryan is probably one of the best dads I know. Ryan has 4 amazing kids, and is always just shouting praises about how awesome his kids are. And yeah, so talk a little bit about your family, Ryan. Your wife Jennifer, who is a saint.
Yep. She's an absolute saint, full-time educator, been over in the Frontier Academy for 15 years now. And as we know, teachers have been through the ringer these last couple of years. So send some good vibes any teacher's way, but she's just an incredible woman. Just loves these kids, her fellow educators, her staff, and is just so passionate about what she does day in and day out, getting these kids from point A to point B throughout the school year. Like Paul said, we're very fortunate to have four amazing kids. Our bookends, Noah and Sarah Beth, live up in Portland, Oregon, and have Noah's been up there since 2017. Sarah Beth relocated up there last year, so they're just living their best lives up in Portland. Our second born, little Andrew, is into his third month already as a high school English teacher at Valley High School. So he's once again following in the footsteps of his mother and grandfather before him, and just doing some amazing work with those kids down in Valley. Nathaniel, our third born, got married a year ago, so they're 14 months into their marriage to Ruthie. They work for a rebalance program here in Greeley, where they're working with just troubled kids, that late middle school, high school age kid that just needs to see some good role models in their life and just know that there's a different way to deal with the many frustrations in life other than violence and other inappropriate behaviors. So they work the coffee shop every Friday night. They're working the Zoe's coffee shop throughout the week, and then having some classes with these kids a couple of times a week, just trying to teach them better behaviors and better responses to the nuances and the daily goings on that could be reacted to in a better way. So we're very fortunate. Called Greeley home, 28 years now.
Yeah, you're originally from
Laramie, Wyoming. So it was real nice. Paul, you missed it this week. The wind, we had a light breeze Thursday and Friday of about 30 to 40 miles an hour, and just brought a little tear to my eye, being a little homesick for the cold and wind of Laramie, Wyoming. So,
how's the University of Laramie or Wyoming doing this year on football? I haven't followed much of it.
We were doing great until yesterday about 7:45 when Air Force scored that last touchdown, defeated the Wyoming Cowboys 34-27. I think if we Wyoming Cowboys could have won, they'd probably be playing in a New Year's Day bowl game. They were at 5-1, but now Air Force would go to 6-0 and probably win the Mountain West. So bad day for football in Colorado, Paul. You didn't miss much this
Well,
week.
I did see the score. I did not watch the Stanford game, but I saw the score and heard the story what happened, and that's a little rough. So what is it? You need to win 6 games to be bowl eligible?
6 games is bowl eligible, and then if you can win your conference, you get a little bit better bowl game. So maybe a Rose Bowl or a Cotton Bowl instead of the Cheez-Its, Munchies.
Well, bowl game's a bowl
whatever.
game when you if you don't win your conference, a bowl game's a bowl game. And what's CU 4-2? 4-3?
I think they're 4-3.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they got a tough schedule. They got so
one of your favorite shows lampooned them, as I understand it, last night on Saturday Night Live Weekend Update. So if you haven't watched that, I guess they really took Dion to the good shit.
Well, I started watching this morning. Pete Davidson's a host, so I actually started watching it on Peacock this morning. So I love Pete Davidson. I think he's very, very funny. So I'm about 20 minutes in, so I'll have to watch it. The news on the Weekend Update on Saturday Night Live is really the best part of it.
It really is. So look for that when you get to Weekend Update.
So when we met, you were a financial advisor. You had just left a pretty, I don't want to say cushy, but a comfortable job working for State Farm to try something on your own. And then the dreaded COVID hit and kind of forced you down the road to make some changes. What do you do? Tell everybody kind of what you do there in the Dirty G.
In the Dirty G, well, I'm very fortunate. There's a fiber optic company that has recently come to Colorado. We've been around 20 years now. And about a year and a half ago, it goes back to our friend Chalice Springfield. She knew that I was not real happy in my chosen career, not real happy at the firm that I was at. And she said, "Hey, Ryan, there's this Allo Fiber that's hiring for a position, a PR and events thing that I think you would be perfect for." And I was like, "Nah, I'm a financial advisor. I don't need to be PR and events for some startup, basically fiber optic company." Well, lo and behold, I took her advice and applied and got hired. And so I just recently celebrated my 1-year Alloversary, just call it Allo, with Allo Fiber. And it's just been so fulfilling to be able to be kind of the public face, setting up opportunities with local nonprofits, with local businesses, just to get our name out there, just to continue to build goodwill in the community, whether it's sponsoring the Greeley Philharmonic Orchestra, the Colorado Dance Collective, 60 Plus Ride, so many, many worthy nonprofits here in Greeley. I also get to work with many of the community and business leaders in Erie and Brighton, up north to our friends in Eaton, for those that might be watching today. So it's just a super rewarding opportunity. The stress is almost non-existent, and I just get to go into work every day and hand out some alimony to worthy causes, get those sponsorships lined up, and continue to build some strategic partnerships with our community members.
So Ryan, I just put your Facebook page in the comments on this video. So this is how, if you want to ask a question for the 29th ahead of time, you send it to Ryan through his Facebook page. So you're going to have to check your messages,
Okay.
that other message, from people that
Yeah.
aren't friends of yours that send you messages.
Okay.
So if you have any questions ahead of time that you want Ryan to make sure to ask, send them there. Yeah, and then you can also you can also ask questions live. I think we're going to do it that way as well. There are obviously some questions I want to avoid, which is kind of funny, but it's going to be live, so we'll see what we can do. so Ryan, what are you? I mean, as you've watched several of these silly shows that I've done. What are some of the ones that you've enjoyed, and some of the things that you're going to take out of me talking to these people into putting me in the other seat?
I think most importantly is just allowing the conversations to flow wherever we think they will go. I know there was a very meaningful one you had about a year ago, where out of the blue it became a very in-depth and very personal look at sort of some men's mental issues, some men's health and wellness issues. And so I think just being open to where the conversation takes us. We'll obviously have a few things that your listeners will have wanting to know about Paul and wanting to know about the mystery collection. And I think just allowing the flow of the conversation to take us where it goes, and see what might come of that. So just being open to that, and hopefully people send in some good questions. It's going to be a fantastic conversation, kind of like we have now, just some back and forth, a couple of guys sitting at a bar having a beer and getting to know each other a little better.
Well, the episode you're talking about, I don't remember the exact date, but it was a guy named Jake Anderson, and Jake wrote a book. I talked about this the other night when Brandon Ringo was on. Jake, and I apologize for my coughing. I'm still suffering a little bit of the repercussions of COVID. It's just, they come and go, and I get a little bit stuffed up. So I apologize for the, excuse me, coughing. I don't have a producer, so I don't have a cough button. I do, but it's behind me. Jake Anderson wrote a book on Elisa Lam, the disappearance of Elisa Lam in the Cecil Hotel mystery. And I'd read the book and just reached out to Jake, and he came on and talked, and it quickly turned into, we talked about Elisa for quite a bit, but then it kind of turned into a discussion between two dudes that, were concerned about mental health for themselves and their friends. And it really was it was the first time that I had talked openly about seeing a counselor. And at the time I was on some antidepressants and anti-anxiety meds to kind of drown out the noise. And I did that for about 18 months, and it worked. And I know that Ryan, you and I privately have had many, many conversations about seeing a counselor, about seeing, the advantages of taking care of your mental health, especially as you get older and things change. I don't think either one of us are where we thought we would be 20 years ago. And I'm not saying I'm in a better or worse position, but I'm definitely not where I thought I would be. And the stresses of being at one time, a son, a husband, and a father, and then the transitions there that you've gone through in those roles, and the transitions that I'm going through in those roles. It's just it's something that is important, and I know we talk about it a lot in private. So hopefully we can do that on the 29th as well. So yeah, and I also imagine that some of our dudes will chime in with some funny questions. I gave a ghost tour the other night, and there's a story that I tell on the ghost tour about the devil of Argenta. And there's a great picture that I show of the devil on Argenta. And if I can find I have a printed one. Mr. Maybe Prater can send me the digital, and I'll post it, where there's a picture of some kids walking, and behind them you can see the devil of Argenta. Well, the story is that somebody had sold their soul to the devil and made a deal and became this devil of Argenta. So I did tell the group that it was Thursday night. I did say, okay, listen, full disclosure, I need to tell you that I am not the current owner of my own soul. I lost it to our friend Aaron Havens on at a game of frisbee golf about God. I want to say it's been 2 years now that
Yeah.
Aaron's been the conservator of my soul. And anybody that knows Aaron Havens and knows me knows that it's probably safer in Aaron Havens' hands than it is in mine right now. But he's been threatening to auction it off. So maybe there's a fundraiser there for whatever project Aaron's got going next to auction off my soul. Aaron can get $1.90 for it, I'm sure. So we also talk about Ryan worked at a baseball card shop when you were in high school.
I did. One of my first jobs, that would have been at kind of the peak baseball card time in about 1987, 88, 89. So I'd get on my little bicycle and pedal down to the bicycle card shop in downtown Laramie, Wyoming, open up at 10, keep that baby open until 5. And gosh, we were making at the time $1.50 an hour, but it gets better. It was actually only 75 cents an hour in cash and 75 cents an hour in store credit.
Oh
So you can
man,
imagine at the end of a 7, 8 hour day, I mean, you were pulling in $8.
you could buy a pack of the Upper Deck high numbers with that kind of money.
Upper Deck high number, a couple of packs of Don Russ if you really got lucky. So
Right.
that was one of the first jobs, man, in that baseball card store there in the late 1980s, which you can imagine how much fun that was in downtown Laramie, Wyoming.
Well, I'll bet. I mean, do you remember any of the big pulls? Do you remember anything big that people pulled in your store? I mean, now this is before the I mean, I think 90, I want to say like 91, 92. I think Donruss Diamond Kings, they first started inserting autographs. But I mean, back then, the pulls were just, I mean, everything was mass produced. Everything but they had manufactured this market for rare cards. And
Yeah.
that Ken Griffey Jr.
Ken Griffey
1989
Jr.
Upper Deck is the best example of that.
That was really the pinnacle. That was people come in hot wax, and buy those 89 Upper Deck packs and hoping for that Griffey pull, of which there were not very many, as we were told. And
As we were told, right?
watched the documentaries and read the stories. They were just printing those babies as fast as those printing presses could pull them off.
Yeah, they printed them into 1990. They were still printing them in 1990 and sending boxes and little packs of just Griffey Juniors to store owners that were buying. So, I know we've had this discussion. There are baseball cards from 2023 that are available in packs today that are going for six figures.
Mm.
Autographs are very limited numbered, and you see them on eBay for $75,000 to $100,000 for players that now granted I don't follow baseball like I did in 1989, but I've not heard of these players. Some of them haven't even had major league at bats yet. But you get online and you can find an Andre Dawson rookie card in mint condition for $40, for $30.
Yeah.
Don Mattingly for $15. And that's kind of heartbreaking to old guys like me that remember watching Donnie baseball and Canseco and McGuire, and Kirby Puckett, Clemens, these guys. Now, granted, there's the steroids, controversies as well, but I mean, even Nolan Ryan, some of these old Nolan Ryans aren't worth what some pitcher who's never thrown a pitch in the major leagues is like. So,
I think the industry really started, well, it lost me a long time ago, but when you started getting jerseys and relics and autographs and ones of ones and just so many varieties of cards. Boy, back in my day, you either had Don Russ or you had Tops, and then Upper Deck broke in, so you had a whole nother, a third set.
Fleer. Fleer was another one that came out in the mid '80s. Fleer, yeah. So Ryan and I talk about baseball quite a bit, and one of the things Ryan razzes me quite a bit is my hatred for the Houston Astros. Fucking Astros.
Boy, could be another Astros World Series championship here in another couple of weeks, Paul.
Well, with the Braves and the Dodgers out, I don't know that. I mean, with the Phillies and are the Dodgers out? Did they lose yet? Or are they?
Oh yeah,
they're okay. So it's a Diamondbacks and Phillies.
Diamondbacks, Phillies, and then an all Texas ALCS with Rangers, Astros.
Oh God, it looks like the Astros have got to be the favorite in that one.
They really do. I think another thing that we'll talk about is, what's the point of the regular season anymore? I don't know if you've had a chance to see the statistical final win for all Major League Baseball teams, but a majority of them are no longer in the playoffs. So you have the Dodgers over 100 wins, they're gone. Braves over 100 wins, they're gone.
The Rays,
who else?
Devil Rays,
the Rays, Orioles, all these teams that just dominated the regular season. They got to the playoffs and they were either swept or out pretty quickly. So that'll be another interesting topic of conversation.
Well,
Does
yeah,
the
and if you
baseball really
remember 2007
matter?
when the Rockies made the World Series, we were a
Hmm.
wild card team that just got hot at the right time.
Yep.
There's no reason we deserve to be in the World Series. There's no reason. We just got hot, and I mean, we did. We just got hot. We had played
Yeah.
we'd played mediocre. I mean, barely 500 baseball all year, and yeah, swept through. So won what 21 out of 23 games or something like that
It
towards the
was
end of the season.
incredible that last streak. And then what happened to us also happened to a couple of those teams this year where they got into the playoffs and had 5 days off.
Yeah,
You just, as you know, they say in baseball, you just can't have that long time when you're just not out there every day playing ball, especially when it really, really matters. So I don't know if Major League Baseball will look at that next year and change things around or not, but pretty incredible. You went 104 games and 3 games later, your season's over.
that's it's I don't know. And then the Rockies again for the first time lost 100.
Another impressive season in Blake Street, 103 losses, 104 losses, and 14th in attendance for the year,
Yeah,
13th in
it's
attendance.
ridiculous, ridiculous.
So
No incentive
2.7, 2.8 million people.
and no incentive to change anything because we keep buying tickets and people keep going.
No, it's a great time. You see that sun going down over the Rockies and
In the third
just
oldest stadium in the National League.
third oldest. Yep. But hey, why change what
No,
works? And
if it's
what
not
works
broken.
is
Yeah.
printing big piles of cash. So maybe we'll bring on one of our favorite Eaton residents and have her talk about the Colorado Rockies here in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know that she's coming on. Another thing that Ryan and I have enjoyed over the last couple of years is we have quite different tastes in music, but we've gotten to share our tastes in music. And I took Ryan with my friend Paul Prater and my kid Ren. The four of us went and watched Amon, Amarth, and Ghost a month and a half or so ago. And I don't know that Ryan had ever quite seen anything like that.
I hadn't, and I was privileged to attend. It's really special when you see people at the pinnacle of their abilities and to see Ghost come out and the performance. And we talked about this on the way home. Was it a concert? Was it a performance? Was it something else entirely? But to see the artistic creation that Ghost put on across the board was just really, really something to see.
And if you don't listen to Ghost, I know well, I've talked about this several times. The best way to describe Ghost is I think they are radio friendly pop music about human sacrifice and blasphemy. I mean, I think that's the best way to describe it. And Amon Amarth was a band I was familiar with. I don't know that I listened to them, and they're pretty much Viking metal. I mean, that's the only way I can describe it as Viking metal. And they had sword fighters and shields and what's the thing with the big ball at the end of
the big spiky ball.
big spiky ball at the end of the chain, and they had fighters and they had dragons and they had boats, and oh man, it was pretty fun. And then we went and saw Tool together a couple years ago, and you've seen now Tool a couple of times, and they're coming back in is it May or February or I don't know when.
Yeah, coming back through the Pepsi Center or Ball Arena or the Can or whatever it is called this week. So that was another incredible performance that if you haven't seen Tool before, highly recommend. That was really a good show.
One of the fun trivia bits about my friend Ryan Roth is you have seen Dave Matthews how many times?
We're at 16.
Okay.
Unfortunately, he did not come through Colorado this year, which he tends to hopscotch across the mountain time zone every other year. So we're stuck at 16 until probably sometime next summer. But another great artistic experience. A little bit different than seeing Ghost, a little bit different than seeing Tool, but
and you've traveled to see him. You have, yeah. Where you went to the Gorge and saw him.
Went to the Gorge 5 or 6 years ago now, and that's kind of for the hardest of the hardcore because you really want to have to see Dave to make those travel plans, flying to Seattle and start driving east out to Gorge, Washington. But 3-day experience, highly recommend if you've never been out to Heaven's Amphitheater. It probably closely rivals Red Rocks for one of the best concert venues in the United States.
And it sounds like it rivals Red Rocks in ass ache to get to category as well.
Ass ache to get to and ass ache to get home.
Yeah, yeah. I love Red Rocks, but it's once you're there, it's fine. But the getting in and getting out is just the sucks.
It makes it almost not want to go to a show there. Which, seeing Tool the other night, they came through Loveland, Colorado, of all places, the Blue Federal Credit Union Arena, Budweiser, whatever they call that one now. It was great. Maynard took his last bow at 11:02, and I was home in my garage at 11:30.
Nice.
28 minutes
Nice.
from stage to home, which might have been the highlight of the evening, honestly, because I'm getting old.
Right. Had that been at Red Rocks, you wouldn't have been home till 2 o'clock in the morning.
2 o'clock easy, and then up and at 'em the next day.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So you mentioned you sponsor the Philharmonic and some of those kind of things. What are some of the things that you do for entertainment around Greeley? Around I know that you're quite active in the community. What are some of the things around Greeley that you do?
Paul, after I get done working in downtown all day, I usually come home and get my much better half. And then we drive back downtown to a couple of our favorite watering holes. Always a big fan of 477 Distilling and our friend Matt Estrin. Have a couple of cocktails there, and then walk around the corner and see our friend Tommy Dyer over at Bricks, well, formerly Bricks, Tight Knit Brewing. Just a good dude, really making it work down there on the other one way, and putting out some fantastic beers. So if you're in Greeley, stop by, snag a Das Boot before that runs out, and then Greeley Nights Dark Lager will be out if it isn't already. It will be in the next couple of weeks. But hitting up those couple of watering holes, had the chance to see the Greeley Philharmonic last night. My good friend Ben Barnhart, the new executive director of the Greeley Phils, really trying to encourage the Greeley community to come out and support the Philharmonic, which I wasn't a big fan of for a lot of years, being in Greeley a couple of decades now. I don't know that I'd ever been to a show, but I'm now a season ticket holder and really look forward to hearing that style of music and that experience that, it's live music, and it's live performances by very talented professional musicians. So I'm anytime you can see those things, it's something special to behold. So
And Ryan,
get together with. Oh, go ahead.
I'd say you and I were in a Chase Bank commercial filmed at Tight Knit Brewing.
We were in a Chase Bank. There is rumors. I think it might be out on YouTube somewhere. We'll have to try and track down that link. But that was something kind of fun we did. Gosh, has that already been a year or two ago?
Yeah, I
I
don't.
know
Yeah,
we were doing onset COVID tests, so
yeah, yeah.
might have been 2 years. But
We
that
had
was kind
really
of fun being
it really
national
pushed
television.
it really pushed our acting abilities. We were men sitting in a bar. That was our role. Men sitting in the background of a brewery. We did high five. I don't know. I haven't seen the commercial. You've seen it, right?
I don't know if the high five made it, but I think you can see us sort of blurry in the background, listening and being very attentive to what the other one was saying.
Yeah, because we could hear each other. That's the
Mhm.
other problem with some of the bars downtown. We can't hear each other. But yeah.
No.
So I'm looking forward to getting you out to Rock City and showing you some of the places that I go down here. There's a couple bars that I hit pretty frequently down here. And the other thing is we have the Simmons Arena, which is our version, or the Little Rock's version of the Budweiser Center. It's small, about the size of the Bud Center, and it's about literally 9 minutes from my apartment. I went last night. Alice Cooper was there. I did not go. I will regret that, I'm sure, but whatever. I didn't go. I've seen Dwight Yoakam there, and and then the night before, or 2 nights ago, was Ringo Starr and his All Star Band. So they get some of the bigger bands. And then we have the Hall, which is maybe about 15 minutes from here, and it's a smaller venue. Think the Moxie times 5, maybe. Not quite Mission and Denver, but maybe closer to Paramount in Denver or Ogden. Saw Jason Isbell there, and next month I'll see Gary Holt and Exodus, and that'll be very fun. Paul and Sarah went and saw Guar there, and that was a very fun one to hear about. So I'm looking forward to getting you and some of the dudes out here to Rock City and showing you guys some around. I will be here through the end of the month, and then back in Colorado for a couple weeks, and then back here through Thanksgiving, and just kind of trying to figure out. I think Leah and her boyfriend Ryan might making the drive from Nashville for Thanksgiving. We'll see. We'll see. It's I'm having a good time going back and forth. We'll talk more about this at the end of the month, but I'm not quite sure where I'm going to end up or what's going to happen, but I'm enjoying the ride for now. So what do you got going the rest of the day, Ryan, on a Sunday afternoon in G-Town?
Well, like we opened the show with, we don't have to sit through another humiliating Broncos defeat today, so it really opens up the possibilities. Just a beautiful, crisp day here in Greeley. Might sit on the patio, have another cup of coffee. Might light up a cigar later. You never know how the day's going to go.
So you're also can you talk about this? You're also working with the city to try to open. Is this
a cigar lounge? There are a couple of investors in town. We actually went before the Greeley City Council and got approval for a private men's, I hate to call it a gentleman's club, a private club would be the way that we'd have to work with the city. But just be able to open an indoor smoking area where individuals could come together, have some leather chairs, some big screen TVs, and most importantly, be able to smoke some cigars inside, which is super helpful between about October and March or April, depending on the Greeley winters. So we are working on that. We've got the approval from the city, so now we're just looking at some real estate and hopefully be able to maybe move forward with that as early as next year sometime.
So I know we had talked about this. Would people be, and I know this was a concern or a question, would people be able to smoke cigarettes in there as well? I mean, or would that be a house rule? I mean, legally and house rules differ, but would if you get a permit to have a private cigar smoking establishment, would the law also allow cigarettes? Is that opening a door for bars to allow cigarettes? I don't. I mean, I'm just devil's advocate here. I'm just asking.
Yeah, there's some tricky things that we still need to look into. If we do cigars, can we do cigarettes? What about vaping? Vape's big with the kids anymore,
Right.
so can you allow vape pens in there? And then are there THC pens as opposed
Right.
to regular just flavored vape? So we're trying to make sure that we dot all our T's and cross all our I's, as they say. But just make sure that it's a place that folks can come together in a adult-ish environment and be men and women that want to talk and smoke and maybe watch the Broncos lose another game or two.
Right, right. Now there are several bars in Argenta in the downtown North Little Rock area that allow smoking, that allow cigarette smoking. There's also a cigar bar down there. I have not been in the cigar bar, but I have been in the other ones. And how they get around it, or their rules are, it's 21 and over, period.
Mm-hmm.
And I think is it nationally now it's 21 to buy cigarettes and buy cigars, right? It's not 18 anymore; it's 21, and that's a
I
national
think
thing.
many of the places are working on raising that legal age, and I think it started with the whole vape pen
Right,
debacle.
right. So we got a big election coming up in Greeley. I think probably the most important election coming up is our school board. Our school board has been hijacked by lunatics, or is attempting to be hijacked
Well,
by lunatics.
one issue candidates, as they say,
Yes, yeah. So
that want to do something with like some of these items behind me.
yes,
So it's
some
important.
book manners, and so if you're in Greeley and you want to listen to Reason, there are some really good candidates. Oh my, and their
I
names.
think if you let's see, Paul hasn't been here in probably a couple of weeks. If you're driving around Greeley and you see the people that have a good campaign going, that have the yard signs out, I think you have a pretty good idea about who would be the best choice for those school board positions. There's also going to be a very interesting statewide ballot measure, double H, depending on how you feel about Tabor refunds and who should spend your money better, yourself or the government. Might also want to look into that before
Now
the
is that
election here in a couple of weeks.
is that the staggered returns? Um,
It's the property tax. They're trying to figure out how to lessen your property taxes since when they were assessed originally, it was in the summer of 2020, summer of 2021, when property values in Colorado were literally at their peak. And so there was some discussion at the Capitol how to possibly rectify that. So it has to do with some Tabor refunds and credit towards your property tax bill. So you should look in, people should educate themselves on both the local school board elections and the HH measure that will be hitting your mailbox this week.
well, the other one is the Tabor. I don't know if that's on this one where they're and for those of you that aren't in Colorado, Tabor is a taxpayer bill of rights. It's where if there's an over collection of taxes, it's returned to the taxpayers. And there was talk about having it be I don't want to say tiered, but having the people that pay more taxes getting more back as opposed to, because right now, whether if you paid $300 and the refund is 400, you get 400. If you paid, $17,000 and the refund was 400, you get 400. And they were talking about kind of having different levels of that. I don't know if that one's on the ballot now or not, but luckily we got other things to worry about for now.
Yeah.
So,
So educate yourself. Politics is local. Make sure you are educated and tune in maybe in a couple of weeks and we'll discuss that as well.
all right. Well, we've got about a half hour in. So I just we're going to use this. I'm going to circle this around for the next couple of weeks in preparation of the 29th. Sunday the 29th. Ryan Roth will interview me about all things Paul, all things Mystery Collection. I'll talk a little bit about, I think I can freely talk about the restaurant in New Orleans now. I've paid my taxes on the money I've earned from that. It's over. So I'll share that story if anybody's interested in it. And that's about it. So Ryan, I got to tell you, and I'm making an effort to do this more this year. I,
Mm-hmm.
I You're one of my favorite people in the world, and I appreciate our friendship more than you know. I appreciate your candor and your honesty, and that when we get together, sometimes we talk about real serious things, and sometimes we talk about the 1989 Fleer Billy Ripken. So I love you, buddy, and I give my best to your wife. We told Sarah Beth, Ryan's youngest, one time that Jennifer and I found out we were related, and she was very excited, and she was actually disappointed when she found out that
She
that
was.
we were pulling her leg. So give everybody hugs, and we're gonna disconnect. Stay on for a second, Ryan, but I'm gonna
All right.
disconnect on here and check in on the 29th. I don't know what the times. I've got it up here, but Ryan's link is in the Facebook post under this video. So check it out and send him any questions you have. Yeah. So thanks again, Ryan. And
Yep.
we'll talk to you all soon.
See you guys in a couple weeks. Thanks, Paul.